This going. So, good morning, good afternoon, maybe even good evening, depending on where you may be. Welcome to the Kansas City virtual user group on this, at least here in Kansas City, absolutely freaking freezing, frigidly cold February 11th. I hope you all are staying warm, or if you are already in a place that's warm, how can I find you and join you? Because again, it's cold, very, very cold here. My name is Dale Ziegler. I am one of the co-leaders of the Kansas City user group. By day, I am a senior business analyst with 7 Summits. And my partner in crime, Jeff Berger, he was recently promoted to a VP level position. He's essentially running the bank now, basically at Academy Bank when it comes to all things Salesforce. He will probably not be able to join us today because he's meeting with someone in the C-suite, and I said, dude, you got to go meet with the C-suite. That kind of feels like an opportunity you don't miss. All good. We got the ship covered here. But we are your fearless co-leaders. If you ever need to reach out to us for anything, that email address down at the bottom of the slide goes to both of us. We are both fairly responsive as quickly as we can be. Any questions, thoughts, concerns, suggestions? Hey, Dale, stop talking so much. I promise I'm working on it. But, you know, any of those suggestions we take them to heart, and we try to respond as quickly as we can. And any links like this, we're going to share the deck out later this evening. So if you didn't get a chance to write down the email address, no worries. We'll have it shared out later. So the disclaimer, we are recording this meeting. So if you are not allowed to, or you're not comfortable being recorded, please drop. But we are recording to then post to our YouTube channel later this afternoon, later tonight. Just depends on when I get, unburied from client work to switch over to YouTube and upload it, but it will be sometime today. We'll also share the deck with the links. But again, if you don't want to be or cannot be recorded, sorry, gotta have you jump. And well, we all know Zoom etiquette at this point, I hope. But if you're not speaking, please mute yourself. There will be some pockets of time where, like for Q&A on Corinne's presentation, or here in the next few slides, we encourage people to participate. But if you're not speaking, just mute yourself. And then also, if you can, rename yourself in Zoom in the participant list to your name, something resembling your name. We have had some fun in the last few calls with obviously a parent jumping, or a kid was on the parent's Zoom line and it was their gamer handle or something like that. All good. We're all doing this work from home thing together, but please just give us your real name so that we know who's actually talking. We do have a Slack channel that we are slowly but surely getting some conversations going on. But if you are not on the Slack channel yet and you want to be, shoot us an email there at the common address for Jeff and I, and we'll get you added as soon as we can. So if you're new to the user group space, if you're new to the Salesforce community in general, welcome. This is one of the most welcoming and open places I think I've ever been a part of, whether it be professionally or personally. The community as a whole is global. God knows how many hundreds of thousands of people, all with a common purpose of trying to help each other, whether it be with Salesforce or extending that into personal relationships and helping each other as friends. Here in Kansas City, we have a handful of groups. This one that you're in right now, this is the general user group. We were, for a short stretch of time until I whined and complained to Salesforce about it, we were known as just the admins group. And I said, yeah, but we're more than just admins. We have our developers in here. We have our nonprofiters. We have our marketers. We have our WIT participants. Everybody comes here. So can we please be the general group again? And they said, okay, fine, Dale, shut up, we'll do it. So they did it. Here we are. We are the general group, but we do also have a developer group led by Brian Hadaway. We have a WIT group, we have a marketers group, and then also the nonprofit group. I did have a couple of people in the nonprofit space actually reach out to me and say, hey, I'd potentially be interested in taking ownership of the nonprofit group. I don't know if that went anywhere or not, but it did go dormant a few months ago. We do have a good nonprofit base here in Kansas City. So if anybody is interested in getting that up and running again, you can either reach out to Salesforce directly. I can get you the address on that, or I can facilitate an introduction, whatever you want to do. But we can definitely make that happen. All information about our groups can be found at that bit.ly up at the top of the screen. So a little bit more about our community and our group. So again, this is the general user group. We do not have any meetings scheduled after this one. We were doing a really good job on a monthly cadence, but I've been talking to Jeff the last few days and we're like, we need to take just a teeny tiny bit of a breather. So we're probably going to take March off and then pick it back up in April. I have had one person reach out to me on that speaker interest form. If you are interested in presenting, we would love to have you. How's your company using Salesforce? What's a feature that you have just fallen in love with? This is a safe space to say, this is what I kind of think sucks about Salesforce, but why? And here's how I've worked around it. This is a safe place to share whatever you think might be beneficial for anybody else. If you want to present, please go to that speaker interest form. We would absolutely love to have you. You don't have to be from Kansas City. So those of you who are from out of town, we'd love to have you present as well. We've had MVPs. We've had Steve Moe, we've had David Giller. We had Christy Kane from Pittsburgh, who works for a local company here, but she's from Pittsburgh, PA. We would love to have anybody present. So please go fill out that form. And again, the link to it will be shared out with the deck. I haven't looked at the participant list yet, but do we have any of the other local user group leaders on the call to speak up and introduce yourself? That's quite all right. Do we have any, who are either user group leaders from outside of Kansas City or just attendees in general from outside of Kansas City? Who are you and where are you from?
Hi, Dale. My name is Amy Opplinger Singh, and I'm from Akron, Ohio.
Hi, Amy. I don't know that I've ever met you. Have we met before? Love having Salesforce, Amy. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, Dale. Terry Miller with Des Moines.
Terry, our friend up in Des Moines, would love to get the study group update here in a few minutes.
Sure.
Hey, Dale. Excuse me. Julie from Des Moines with a rough voice. Not too far from Terry. Dextra, but now Ascend.
Oh, renamed.
We were acquired and we have job openings. Hint,
okay.
Hint. Wink, wink. Okay.
Awesome. Awesome. We'll get to that one here in a minute. Who else do we have from out of town? All right. Well, totally okay if you don't want to speak up. You are always welcome here. We try to share out registration information as broadly as possible on LinkedIn and on Twitter, or if you're following, if you registered for the group through the registration site, then you'll get the updates on those as well. Always welcome. So thank you. Do we have any Salesforce employees on the call? Not a problem. All right, so my favorite slide of the whole deck. So who are our first-time attendees? And you can either speak up or throw your name in the chat. Really? Everybody's been here before? That's okay. Oh, yep, Amy and Marty. Yes, of course. Mackenzie, Paul, welcome, welcome, welcome. New roles or jobs that anybody has landed, or you are looking to hire someone. Speak up, don't be shy.
Yeah, this is Mackenzie Bodenhammer. My company actually is potentially going to be looking to hire some Salesforce developers and admins in the next quarter or two. I am not very familiar with the tool, so I'm here in hopes of networking and learning a little bit more so I can speak intelligently about the Salesforce program.
Absolutely. Yeah, welcome, welcome, welcome. And if you have any links, at least like to your company, or if postings are already out there, if you want to drop them in the chat, we'll share them out after.
Awesome. I would appreciate that. There's still kind of preemptive searches, but I will put all the information I have here.
Awesome. Thank you, Mackenzie.
Thanks.
Yeah, I'm Matt Hayes. I'm an admin at a startup here in Kansas City called Companion Protect. We're actually hiring a senior Salesforce developer and a Salesforce developer right now active. So
Okay.
I'll put those links in the chat.
Awesome. I think you and I may have talked at Dreamforce a couple of years ago. For some reason, that sounds familiar.
We've talked a few times.
Awesome. Very good. If you have links to anything, drop them in the chat. We'll share them out as broadly as we can.
Hey, Dale, this is Julie again. Can you hear me okay? I feel
Yes.
like, okay. Hey, we do have openings and I'll put a link in, but if anybody's interested, if you can reach out to me, that would be great. So I'll put my email in there as well, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I can say from firsthand experience that Julie and Dextra now Ascend.
Yeah, Ascend Technologies.
All very good people. So if an opportunity fits and aligns, it's a great place to be.
Thanks, Dale. Same to you. Thanks.
Who else for new roles, new jobs, or openings to share? Okay. Already had Selvin put in the chat that you passed the developer exam. Congratulations. What other certifications do we have here since the last meeting? Passes or fails?
Hi, can you hear me?
And I'm gonna say if you've never seen me get excited about somebody failing a certification exam, it really is a sight to be seen, because again, this is a safe place. Nobody passes any judgment, if you failed a certification exam, so have all of us. And I keep forgetting to have it queued up before the meeting starts, but if you saw the list of exams I have failed between the 6 that I've passed, it's okay to fail. We're here to learn from each other. You can speak up and say, yeah, I failed the admin exam or whatever it is, because we've all been there. Find somebody who can maybe help coach you or start a study group. Along with that, Terry, our good friend up in Des Moines, started the advanced admin study group, right? A couple of weeks ago.
Yep. 3 weeks ago, we've got a good group. I think 18 of us studying through that together.
Okay. How's it going so far?
Very good. We've got a really diverse group of people, lots of different experiences. Most of them are, I would say maybe 70% are Des Moines, Kansas City area, but we've got a few from, I think, Virginia, various different places around the country that joined in. So we record all of those. They're all up on terrystidbits.com on YouTube. Not terrystidbits.com. It's on YouTube, Terry's Tidbits.
Right.
Get it right. So yeah, if you're trying to study for that exam, you can certainly follow along on our YouTube channel as well. We've got past study groups recorded up there too for the admins certification, and the platform app builder are all up there.
Thank you for facilitating a group like that. Thank you for then recording it for people to go back and do, because I mean that's obviously what helps. That's what helps grow this for all of us, and we all get to succeed together. So very appreciative that you're doing that.
Yeah.
Very cool. We have prepping for a second attempt at the admin exam. Yeah, I think we have all failed the admin exam at some point. We in good company there. Yeah, we're all good. This is a safe place. So, all right, let's see. We got more questions coming in. So sorry, I'm like, I should be talking, but I'm reading the chat just to make sure I don't need to speak to it. But all the links that are getting thrown into the chat, I'll add to the deck and we'll share out as well. So keep them all coming, everybody. Along the lines of the certifications, the second, so as far as I know, there may be testing centers opening up locally. Honestly, I haven't looked because it is so easy to take them online now. They have suspended the requirement for the second cam. So all you need is this guy up here mounted on your laptop if you have one. Do it while you can, but also if you are planning to take a certification, go schedule your time now. There is someone on the other side who's online proctoring it. So obviously they need to have resources available for that. and the onlines are booking up super quick. So if you have a goal, go schedule it, reverse engineer your study plan from there so that you have your slot, because they're unless you want to take your exam on a Sunday morning at 3 a.m., hey, go for it. Many of us are parents. We've all been up in all hours of the night and whatever, but Sunday 3 a.m. isn't an ideal time to take a certification exam. So if you want a normal like Tuesday noon, go sign up for it now, and it might be a few weeks out. Go grab that spot while it is so easy to take your online exam. Behind here is a link to some of the specifications and the requirements for it. So again, that'll be shared out later. I'll keep rolling through here the rest of this. So community resources and events. As a Salesforce MVP, one of the things that I do is co-host MVP office hours. We meet the first and third Friday of every month at 1. Bring any questions and answers and perspectives you may have. It's an open conversation, an open call. You don't have to be an MVP to answer the question. We have MVPs who ask the questions. We have everybody coming in with the perspectives. We can share screens, and it's real-time problem solving, which is just so much fun and so awesome. I walk out of those I learn stuff, and I'm running the Zoom call, and I get to learn from a lot of different people. So it's super awesome. World tours and Salesforce events. I believe everything 2021 is now officially virtual, but things are still happening virtual. So you can go to salesforce.com/events to get updates on anything that is Salesforce sponsored. There's also Trailhead Live and webinars. That webinars link is awesome because it also contains recordings to past webinars. So if you don't get to catch something live, it will be recorded, it will be posted. So definitely bookmark that, either as you're trying to learn something new or going through release readiness or anything like that. Everything is linked to each other, and it's not just what's live and what's in the future. You can get the past stuff too. Community events, a lot of those are virtual. Those are Dreamforces, but not sponsored by Salesforce. A lot of us I'm on the Midwest Dreaming planning team. We're trying to figure out what a virtual event looks like instead of, an in-person. Going back to certification prep, Danielle Karendian. She is a phenomenal resource on the success community. She works for Salesforce. She is in charge of the certification trainings, the certification days, the discounts on your certifications afterwards. I have a slide here a couple later about a new batch of certification days that just opened up in February and into March. But go follow Danielle on the success community so that you can get her updates as soon as possible. And then there's a great Trailhead blog just on what's the certification journey looks like. Mentorship. If you have been impacted by somebody through your journey, Salesforce or not, that has made you want to then mentor somebody, or if you're new to the community or maybe looking for a slightly different path and you want someone to help mentor you, you want to be a mentee, I highly recommend the Trailblazer Mentorship program. They do ask some really good questions to throw into the algorithm of who would you be best paired with. And you can keep the relationship for a month. You can have it indefinite. It's up to you, but it really is a great program to, again, either help pay it forward or seek that help that you need to figure out where and how you should go in your journey. And then the idea exchange prioritization. I know they had a window open at the end of January that I think is closed to then update. I think it was winter 22. So 2 or 3 releases out from now. I know a lot of people use this as the opportunity to say, my idea has been out there for 12 years. They are trying. They really are. They're getting flooded with ideas and duplicate ideas. Quite frankly, some unrealistic ideas, but this is your opportunity to really impact the future of the roadmap. Salesforce really is listening. There's only a handful of them on that team versus the hundreds of thousands that are flooding them with stuff. So you do have an opportunity to make an impact, but don't be negative about it, please. Please know that it's all in an effort to try to positively help. As I mentioned, the certification days, that's just a screenshot of the post from, I believe, earlier this week. Links out to Success Community as well as following Danielle. David Giller from New Jersey. I checked his link like an hour ago. It is still a free class. If you need to learn reports and dashboards, and if you want to do it for free, boom, go sign up. David's awesome. He's an awesome instructor. He's very enthusiastic, very energetic, but also very empathetic to the beginner's journey. That if you're day one, you're day two, and you don't know what's going on, he and his team are still gonna take care of you. So I highly recommend this free class on reports and dashboards if that's something that you need to look into. Spring 21 release, we are in the thick of it. This weekend will be the third and final production release. So a lot of the orgs already went within the last few weeks. So probably a lot of you are rocking and rolling on spring already, which awesome. A lot of good stuff coming out in that release. You can always check status.salesforce.com, not only for release updates, but any outages, any patches, any long-term planning, anything like that. You can drill in based on your specific server pod. So if you're NA77 or on the sandbox side, if you're like CS122, it has all the information in real time. So always keep status.salesforce.com bookmarked for anything transactional and strategic on future Salesforce things. Release notes, they have now migrated to help.salesforce.com. So if you had the old site bookmarked, that's going to go away here, I think, with the summer release. So just switch over to help. Just go to help.salesforce.com. You'll find the release notes there from now on. The release in a box, the infographic, all these other materials. Spring's happening and you can't opt out of it. So the resources are there, but if you don't have a plan for spring coming, well, I guess start planning for summer. But those materials are out there. I particularly enjoyed the Advanced Salesforce Release Readiness Strategies Trailhead module. Trailhead really is like they've gone on hyperdrive on how much release readiness stuff they have put out there to help you not only prepare for what's coming in the release, but how to communicate upward to executives, how to get that advocacy to spend time learning those new features, how to then communicate to your users, here's the net change impact of what this new release brings. I highly, highly, highly advocate doing anything that is release oriented on Trailhead so that you can always be ahead of the game. And when Monday morning you show up and ta-da, you're in spring, or in a couple of months you're in summer, you're already going. You're being proactive instead of reactive, and that's always such a much better feeling to be in. You will have already prepared for the change, and you've prepared everybody else for the change. These were some of the content highlights that Salesforce put out related to the Spring 21 release. A lot of them geared towards admins, but developers, I think there's some stuff that you can pick up in there as well. The release readiness live webinars were last week, but they were recorded, so that site has now been flipped over to a playlist. So if you missed them live, you can still go catch them. Global release webinars should be coming up here in the next couple of weeks, so you can register for those through that link. I have not seen an exact date for certification maintenance exams in April. They did extend them out to a year. We're coming out to the end of that year. I think this round might be Platform App Builder, if you have that one, or maybe that's December and this is admin. But anyway, go pull up the certification maintenance exam link there, and you should probably already be getting email notifications to let you know that you need to renew. But don't lose those hard-earned certs, because a lot of, like, the admin is a prerequisite for pretty much everything, just as the PD1 is on the developer side. You lose those, you lose everything. Don't do that. You worked so hard to get them, so don't lose them. And then always follow the Release Readiness Trailblazer Success Group to get any release information. Update your settings to daily digest. I have mine on email every post, and I've had 300 emails to sift through these last couple of weeks because I forget that those webinars are happening and that that's where everybody posts their questions. That's stupid me. But the weekly is the dumbest default setting in the history of ever, because then you miss a whole week's worth of content. So just go to daily. You'll hit that sweet spot. During non-release periods, daily is just fine. All right. Time for me to shut up. That's probably everybody's favorite part of this meeting. So I'm very happy to bring someone else in to talk about some super awesome stuff. And I know this is probably why we also got a really good following from non-Kansas City people as well. Corinne Walker reached out to me and Jeff a couple of months ago and said, hey, I did not update that. Okay, we're gonna pretend that doesn't say Eric Dreschfield. Just put your hand over that and we're gonna say, this is Corinne Walker with the Power of Checkbox Formula fields and driving process. I know in my time my 6 years as an admin and my 4 years as a consultant, checkbox formula fields have saved my life. Like, they seem so teeny tiny, but they pack such a huge punch. And so when Corinne said that she's using them at C2FO, she has done a lot of research and done a lot of impact analysis, and a lot of that impact analysis is for the positive. Like, yeah, you're getting up on stage here. Take all the time you need. The floor is yours. So with that, Corinne, I'm going to stop presenting. I'm going to go on mute and take it away, Rockstar.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thanks, Dale. Bear with me because I'm naturally an introvert, so my presentation skills might be a little rusty, but thank you for welcoming me and allow me to present. I'll go ahead and share my screen here. Okay, everyone able to see? Okay, cool. Thank you. So today I'm going to be presenting on Salesforce checkbox formula fields. Basically, I discovered this while doing some admin work, and I basically have come across several types of characters in my life when it comes to asking for requests. We'll get into these characters in a little bit, but first I want to just go over the agenda real quick. And so I'll talk a little bit about me, like why should you listen to me? Who is this lady that you have to listen to today? Then we'll go and take a little bit of a survey, and then I'll tell you basically what are the pros to using formula checkboxes. When would you not want to use formula checkboxes? And then we'll go into the demo. Okay, so a little bit about me. My name is Corinne Walker. Hi, everybody. I'm an engineering lead for the Salesforce department here at C2FO. If you don't know what C2FO is, don't worry. It's a little bit of it's a company, it's a fintech company. And we do, since I personally am not a finance major and my finesse when it comes to that is a little lacking, it's basically a platform that we provide to suppliers where they can ask for early payment on their invoices. So I started out as a Salesforce admin and moved up into a managerial position. I love working with my team. Hey, team. I also love Salesforce, and I'm not an MVP. I'm not an expert by any means. I'm not the worst of the worst, but I'm not the best of the best. I do have 3 Salesforce certifications, the Administrator, Advanced Administrator, and Platform App Builder. And here's my contact information. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. You can view my Trailhead. Just a side note, my Trailhead isn't very good, so you can go ahead and skip that. And then if you have any questions, follow up, or just want to say hello, you can always email me as well. So why should you listen to me? Like, why do I feel like I have something good to offer here? And it's not because I have the most experience, or like I said, it's not because I'm an MVP, and it's not because I think that I know everything. It's simply about passion. It's about learning something and wanting to share it with you. This, I'm going to echo Dale's sentiment. This formula checkbox field saves so much time, saves my life when it comes to doing admin work. And yeah, I'm just going to kind of go into a little bit more about why I'm so passionate. And if you guys don't recognize what this image is, this is a image from Santa Tracker. And I know it's a little past Christmas, but this is something that my kids play on all the time. I have 2 kids. You can see them in that background in the picture. One's 10 and the other one's 6. The 6-year-old, this is her favorite game. And the idea is that you have this little elf and it has to get to this present. And in order to do so, you click and drag these arrows over. And if you're familiar with this, it looks like a little coding program, right? So I saw her playing this one day, and she's like, "Mommy, this is seriously the funnest game I've ever played. This is so amazing. I wish I could play this all day long." And so I said to her, "You know what, child? This is what I do every day. Like, this is my job." And she's like, "Oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. I'm so jealous. I want to do that." Um, and the idea is, it's like Salesforce. It's like being an administrator. You have your stakeholders coming to you as a little elf. They need to get to the present. There's going to be green dots everywhere. It's going to be obstacles, additional requirements. And your role is to click and drag those arrows and make the elf do all of these fun things to get to the goal. And to me, that's the epitome of being a Salesforce admin. You have to take all the business requirements and you get this huge puzzle that you get to solve every day. And if you can solve them with checkbox formula fields, even better, right? So I'll continue on here, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna play a little game. We're gonna take a little survey here. Let's jump into a little bit more business. But first thing I want to ask you is, have you ever had a stakeholder forget a requirement after you've deployed something? Right? So you've got your little elf coming to you, and they're like, "Hey, I need to get to this present, and go. Here's a green dot here, and here's a green dot here, and that's all I need, right? Just get me there." So as soon as you deploy, they're like, "Oh man, I forgot. There's another green dot over here I didn't account for. Can you, fix that for me real quick? Just real quick." They always say that. Just real quick. We call that the forgetter, right? The person who forgets a key requirement when you're building out the system. They're wonderful people. And yeah, I've dealt with that person. I had that experience 100%. I have had that stakeholder happen many a times. What about the shifty one, right? What about the one who gives you everything that you need for a requirement? You build it out, you deploy it, everything's wonderful. A week later, they're like, "Oh, you know what? I think that we need to switch the requirement to make it look like this." You guys experience that? Yeah, me too. Or what about the person who is the consultant, somebody who you rely on as an outside developer? You never know when you can get them. You only have a certain amount of budget for them, and they're not a part of your business processes. They don't know everything inside and out. And so when you have a requirement that you need to complete and you build that into code, now you're stuck with, if a requirement changes, you got to go back out to them or anybody as an outside developer and ask, "Hey, can you update this real quick? Like, how much money do I need to pay you this time? And let's go ahead and get that SOW going." I'm sure everyone's had to deal with that. Me too. So I'm going to go through fairly quickly the rest of this survey. The idea here is that everyone has experienced at least one of these types of requirement shifts and changes. the laundry list? Have you had somebody come up with requirements that are just 10 pages long? It needs to do this, filter this out, this type, this user, this role, this record type. Have you had the person who's, you got a new territory going on? You've got a mayor doing something, it's working really well. Now APAC's like, oh, I want that too. How about me? Same with a new department. The sales department does something super awesome. You've got automation going for them. And the marketing department's like, oh yeah, I want that too, right? You've got the wild one, somebody who doesn't quite know what the requirements are, but yeah, go ahead and just make it for me and we'll wing it from there. Got the understater who's like, I promise you, these are the only 3 requirements. No more. Don't worry. Just these 3. And then the last 2 is just about time management. Maybe you have an awesome admin on your team. Maybe you've got a couple of in-house developers, but how much time is it going to take for them? What does their backlog look like? You have to keep them into consideration when you're building out your requirements, right? Right. And sometimes you're like, yeah, I only have experienced a few of these. Sometimes you're like, yes, I understand, Corinne. Every single one of this applies to me. And that is why I proposed that you use formula checkbox fields to solve for all of this, right? So specifically, what's so special about formula checkbox fields? I kind of bundled up into 3 different categories. They're adaptable, they're scalable, and they're maintainable. And basically all the personas that I just talked about in the survey that we just took, all of those people will make it so that you have to be adaptable, you have to be scalable. If there's a new region coming in, if there's a new department coming in, you want to be able to accommodate them quickly. So it's adaptable, it's easy to be nimble, you can make quick changes right away. It saves you time and effort, especially when you're considering sprint planning or considering the work that your development team has to do, and generally a higher customer satisfaction, because when you have a stakeholder coming in and saying, oh, is it possible to do this quickly and make this quick change, and you say yes, you just look like a rock star, and they're super happy about it. Formula checkboxes are scalable. It accommodates business growth and expansion, as I mentioned before, whether it's a different region or a new department. And you are able to, if you have a related object, a new custom object coming in, you can source those objects in your formula fields. Lastly, it's maintainable. You can have multiple processes that can reference that single field, whether that is a process builder, a flow, Apex class, if you're running a batch. All of these different systems can run on that one single field. Otherwise, if you're building the requirements into each of those systems or each of those processes, you'd have to touch every single one individually. Right. In my opinion, prone to less errors when making updates, because again, you're not dealing with 10 different updates across different functionalities. You're only having to deal with one formula checkbox field. And with that being said, and all of those people that we talked about in our last survey, and all of these wonderful pros to formula checkboxes, who could ever imagine that they would be a bad thing, or why would you never use them? And so I just want to make sure to bring these out, because formula checkboxes aren't for everyone. I don't recommend using them every single time. I do recommend using them when you can answer one of the 10 questions that I asked earlier, but some gotchas. First of all, there are some field limitations. be careful if you've got 499 custom fields and you've got one left. I don't recommend using it in a formula checkbox field. If you got a compilation size that's going to be greater than 5,000 bytes, this isn't going to work. Your formula has to be pretty darn big in order to meet that maximum, but trust me, I've actually ran into several of them before. So if you have a laundry list of 75 field requirements, this is probably not the best way to go about it. And then the maximum object references is 15. So if you're doing a formula checkbox field and you're going from custom object to custom object to a related object to another related object, you're going to run into a limit. A couple more technical limitations that I'd like to bring up, and I do have documentation on it. So if you want to contact me, email me, or I can even toss these on the slides and send them out, I certainly can. But more technical limitations when it comes to formula checkboxes include processing limitations. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer for the record to process because it does have to calculate the formula value itself. And then if you have related objects, it has to calculate the related object data as well. And then you're similarly with the report filters. If you are using this checkbox and filtering it on a report, it's going to have to go through the same thing where it has to calculate the formula values. And then if relying on another related object, it has to do that as well. For data limitations, typically formula fields just in general aren't the best because they're not indexed, right? So it's hard to filter through a SQL query if a formula field is indexed, is not indexed. It's you can't search for this formula field value, and syncing changes to external databases. So like if you are pulling back data into out of Salesforce and into an internal database, you're not going to be able to capture those changes. So if any of those apply to you, then I would reconsider what the route that you take to meet requirements. Enough about that. I think it's time to go into a demo of specifically what I'm talking about. So I'll go ahead and stop sharing this screen and move to my big screen. So 1 second here. All right.
As the user group leader, I officially declare that all presentations going forward must have the Dr. Evil air quote meme. That is a requirement before you fill out the speaker interest form, by the way. Kidding, you don't have to, but it's very well received.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, so I'm in my personal Salesforce org here. And I have a list of standard contacts. I personally know these people. They're really good friends of mine because I've watched all 8 seasons of them. So I feel like I know them inside and out. But the idea here is that I have a marketing manager coming to me, and they said, you know what, we want to automate these a certain type of contact to be added to a campaign. And basically, as soon as the contact has been engaged and information has been updated about them, we want to automatically add them to a Salesforce campaign for the user group. You know, we want to send out an email to them, invite them to this webinar, because I think that it's really going to help them out, and I think they're going to be really interested in. So I'm like, yeah, sure, that's no problem at all. Like, what are your requirements? And they're like, yeah, sure, no problem. It's just 3. You know, can you already hear the underestimator, or you know, what was that persona we talked about? Can you already hear them? Like, I promise you, it's only going to be 3 requirements. It's first, if this contact has a development department, a Salesforce development department, where their backlog is 3 weeks or greater, then we want to invite them to this webinar. Or if they have an admin department, a Salesforce admin department, and their backlog is greater than 2 weeks, then we want to invite them. And lastly, we only want salespeople here because we don't care about the rest. Okay, so here we have just some basic data in a list view. So I've got my admin overload numbers, my dev overload numbers. And so somebody talked to Andy on the phone and says, "Hey, Andy, how's it going? Like, tell me about your org." And he's like, "Yeah, I do have an admin team. I do have a development team, and both of their backlogs are 5 weeks out." So I'm like, okay, yeah, that's fair. And Andy is a part of the sales department. So this, ideally, if requirement states that Andy is with sales and the admin overload's greater than 2, dev overload's greater than 3, once I flip this contact to engaged, then he should be automatically added to the campaign, right? Yeah, that's easy enough. So there's 2 ways to do it, right? First way is just go into your process builder, right? So I'm going to go into my process builder. Oh wait, I already have that. Going into my process builder here. Right now I just have if the contact status is changed to true. I'm sorry. If the contact status is changed to engaged. All right. Add them to a campaign. Of course, there's a couple more requirements. So let me just clone this real quick. Requirement one, dev overload, right? Greater than 3. That's fair. Totally makes sense. And the admin overload, okay. Yeah, greater than 2. And it's an or statement, so you're gonna have to update your logic, right? 1 and 2 and 3 or 4. Okay. Bam. You test it, which I probably should do. Let me test it here. Let me refresh real quick. And then of course, if you go through your software development lifecycle, this could take 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever your deployment cycle is like. But typically in our org, when we use process builders or automation like that, we do push it through a deployment cycle. So it could take 2 weeks to get this actually deployed into production. All right, so let's take a look at our campaigns here. Here's our Salesforce user group campaign. And okay, we've got one, and let's see who it is. There you go, Andy. Perfect. The perfect candidate to to send an email to for the Salesforce user group webinar. Right. All right. Great. So that's one way you do it, and it's typically the way, especially if you only have a few requirements. And they promised you, right? They promised you that it was only going to be this requirement. Okay. Fair. But then we have the forgetter who comes in and says, "Oh my gosh, this is great. I'm so glad you deployed this. I forgot to mention that this only applies to the EMEA region." Because now we've got people coming in from the EMEA and the India region, and we're just like, this is a local gig, right? Like, this is only happening in the United States. I'm so sorry to forget that this needs to be added. So what do? You go in, now you got to clone this, go through a whole new deployment cycle. You know, it's fine. It's easy enough. You click clone, you go through and add that extra requirement. But then comes the shifty one, right? They're like, yo, listen, thank you for keeping it to a mayor region now. But I forgot that we have a new, you know, my next door neighbor department now has a new record type for tier 1 contacts, you know? And those are the white glove contacts. We don't want to just send them a campaign email. That's ridiculous. So can you go ahead and update, please? You know, please go ahead and update this automation to account for that. I don't know about you, but it's starting to look like a laundry list here. Because now that's the second or the third time that you have to clone that process builder and make this adjustment. I mean, when is it going to end? And I can tell you, it's not going to end because you got the new guys coming in. Okay, you got the new guys who are like, hey, human resource department, here I am. I saw what you did over there, marketing or sales, you know, and that looks amazing. When can I get in, right? All right, this is where you really have to think about using checkbox formula field. So we'll just go ahead and create one here. Formula field, checkbox here, and we'll just call this, I don't know, add to campaign. Here we go. Checkbox, as I mentioned. Okay, first thing first, we said in our very initial requirement, the understater said we only need 3 requirements, right? We said admin overload is 3 or dev overload is 2, and the department has to be sales. All right, cool, that's fine. Let me check my syntax real quick. Wonderful. And as any good admin would do, they'd write a description. This indicates this. Okay, wonderful. Yes, and we'll do that. All right. Now you don't have to put it on your page layouts. I think it clutters up the system if you only set the field level settings to system admin and you add it to the page layout, no big deal, right? Because then you can go in and troubleshoot yourself. But otherwise, I don't think it's necessary to put it on the page layout. But what you can do is you can add it to your list views now. And so even before you go and change the contact to engaged, now you have a formula field that you can kind of identify like which of these people are even eligible for this campaign. Go ahead and okie dokie. All right, well, we knew for sure Andy was eligible. But oh, see now Dwight is eligible. Indeed he is, because he's in the sales department, and look at the overload data there. You know, same with Karen here. Yep, totally makes sense. Awesome. And then what you can simply do is, instead of building those requirements directly into the decision diamond, you can just use that custom formula field as a trigger, as a data point here. So not that one. And then we'll say add equals true. And then you don't even need a customized logic. All right, perfect. Because you know what's going to happen, right? The forgetter is going to come in and they're going to say, oh, shoot, you know, I've got some EMEA people added to the campaign. So, you know, we've got our dear friend Dwight who's in the EMEA region, he shouldn't be on this campaign. Can we exclude him? Can we just make it a mayor right now? And you're like, yeah, sure, that's no problem. I'll just go right in here. I don't have to clone a process builder. It's going to work because I can just update the logic here. And I'm going to say, yes, region must only equal a mayor, right? So department equals sales. And the region is PICVAL, by the way. A mayor, okay. Always check your syntax. Looks good to me. And we'll save. And then you can, it's great because you will be able to check right away. Yep, okay, yes, indeed. Dwight does not belong anymore. But, oh, Michael Scott does. Let's just do a quick test here. Make sure my process builder is activated. Indeed it is. All right, Michael. Engaged. All right, go to my campaigns. Okay, now we have 2 members. And as you know, Andy was on there from the past. And now we've got Michael because we engaged Michael in a conversation and verified all his information.
Sorry.
All right, now I can go through and add all the scenarios that I had thought up because, hold on one second, my child's calling me.
Been there, done that.
Okay, cool. So what did we have? Oh, the shifty one that comes in and says, yeah, you know, new record type, right? So then you're like, no problem. Customer satisfaction 101, I got this for you. Okay, we added, make sure that the record type does not include tier 1 contacts. Okay. Maybe you've got a new group coming in. Like I said, human resources. Whoa, this is amazing. Go ahead and add contacts that are also part of the HR department. And you're like, sure, no problem. So you come right in here. Add in your department. You have to use an or, of course, because it's sales or HR. Check your syntax as a good admin would. Click your save button. And now, as you go through your list views, even before you engage in the person, you can see which one each of them applies to. All of a sudden, Holly is now eligible. You've got the expander. They're like, oh, you know what? EMEA is now ready to take on this process. So now you can say, okay, you know, region is either EMEA or EMEA. And as you can see, the laundry list just goes on and on and on. But the idea here is that you have a scalable solution that you can just go in, update the formula field, especially if you have, you know, an Apex class that uses that field, goes in and does some other amazing, awesome things, and you had an outside consultant doing that work. Now you don't even have to talk to them at all. Not that you wouldn't, but you don't even have to bother them with having to update and accommodate for a new region. You don't have to accommodate for a new department or a new record type. You can just do it right here in your formula field. Okay, and that is the end of my demo. Does anybody have any questions, comments, concerns?
This has been great. I mean, I feel like there's 1,000 ways I could use this. Couple questions, like, would it be as good in a flow as in a process builder? Like, same kind of idea you could use in a flow? And then, like, what other like examples could just, my mind's kind of spinning of like, what could I do with this? Like, what are some other things you've used this for versus like adding to a campaign?
Yeah, absolutely. You can, as long as you can get access to this field, you can use it in almost anything. In flows, with the spring 21 coming along, you've got like before save flows, after save flows, really exciting stuff there. You can use it in process builder, workflow rules. You can grab it in an Apex class. You can use it in reporting. You can use it for an email alert. And some of the more complicated things that I've used this for, specifically at C2FO, is, for instance, we have a system that automates account assignments based on region. And hold on one second. Yeah, what's up? Yeah. Okay. Based on region and the type of role that person belongs to. So we have a sales development role that gets assigned to these accounts, but only in the EMEA region. So what we have to do is we create this formula field, checkbox field that says, if the current assignment of this account is in a specific role, don't reassign it to an SDR. If it is part of a specific role, assign it to the SDR. And then once the SDR takes it, there's certain criteria to then reassign it back out to the original owner. Yeah, there's a lot of possibilities for sure.
One of the things that I've used formula checkbox fields for is to actually shift the burden away from validation rules. Because if you think about it, validation rules are already in a negative tone. Like, if A, B, and C then don't allow this to happen, and depending on how much criteria you put in there, while trying to also think about, is this a not? Do I want this to happen? Do I not want this to happen? If I want some profiles but not others, and do I explicitly exclude versus only include da 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 da? Formula checkbox field, or any formula field, automatically puts you in the positive tone. So depending on what it is that you're trying to prevent happening in the validation rule, if it's easier to write it out in a positive tone of a formula field, you do it as a formula checkbox. And then if true or if false, your validation rule is just simply, is that checkbox formula field true or false? And where I've gone even deeper with that is with the running user. If the running user's profile is or is not this, that's calculating before the validation rule does, all with a checkbox, versus trying to slam all of it into the VR.
Yeah, you got me thinking. So we do, I don't know if anyone else uses the like enterprise territory assignment manager, but we deployed that several months ago, and I'm working on getting like the opportunity owner, or sorry, the account owner lined up with that. And right now I use a report. So I've got like some custom formula inside a report that's like checking, is it in step? But I imagine I could use something like this to say, does account owner equal the territory assigned person? And if yes, it's checked. And then now I don't need a fancy formula within my report.
Exactly.
Okay, cool.
All right, cool. Well, I'll give it back to you, Dale. Thank you for letting me present.
Absolutely. I mean, that was amazing because, I mean, again, it's one of those teeny tiny, very underappreciated pieces of functionality that just packs such a huge punch. I mean, there's an ant can carry 50 times its weight. It's one of the tiniest insects out there, but it can carry 50 times its weight. That is a formula checkbox field. You can do so much with it. So thank you for, I love the whys and the why nots as a Simon Sinek fan, like what's your why? That was huge right there, just to throw in the S word scalability and but also why not? But your quick impact. I mean, this saves hours, if not weeks, upon, you know, maybe what would have previously been required. You're doing it in seconds, and your business keeps moving. You're changing the game right there. So that's awesome. Thank you for showing us. All righty. So last time we had the user group meeting, I was like, hey, we're going to do breakout rooms. And then I realized, oh, hey, my 7th Summit Zoom account doesn't have breakout rooms. So some people reached out to me and said, well, I have an account that can do breakout rooms. Great, I'm going to use you. And then like 2 weeks ago, I found out I have breakout rooms on my Zoom account. So what I am going to do for those who want to stick around, if you remember when we would meet in person, you know, that was a thing. Apparently we used to meet in person because it was safe. Once we got done with the content portion, we'd usually send like admins to one corner of the room and developers and marketers, whatever. I am going to set up a couple of rooms here. If you just give me a minute, that everybody will have the option to join. I'm not going to force you into any rooms, but what we would use that for is it could be a mini office hours. Hey, I'm facing an issue right now. How can you help me fix it? Or, you know, especially with Spring 21, like, you know, dynamic forms and flows now being able to be, you know, before trigger, like all of those kinds of things. Just have general conversations, whatever. But I'm going to open up a few rooms. I think we'll have an admin room, a developer room. What are some other hot topics that people would want to meet on? Either speak up or put it in the chat, but at minimum, I'll have admin and developer. Anybody?
I'd like to talk more about Spring 21, just different things, just like this feature. What do you think about it? How are you going to use it? That kind of stuff.
Sure. Okay. What else would anybody want to break into a room and talk about?
Hey, Dale. I'm always on the lookout to network and build connections, especially looking for those job connections. I don't know if this is the right time to do that, but
no, absolutely. I mean, that's what we used to do. So I'm happy that we can facilitate that. So how about this? I'll do an admin room, a dev room, a Spring 21 room, and just a networking in general room. And it's 10 after. Let's keep this for 30 minutes, and you all should be able to, if you want to stay in a room for a couple minutes, hop to another one, should be able to do that. But let's do this for like 30 minutes. And then when we get to about 20 till, because I do have to prep for 1 o'clock on this Zoom line, we'll reconvene in half an hour, come back to the central room, report out what was talked about, because maybe somebody who didn't join the room could learn something from that. So if you give me 2 seconds, I'll create those rooms. So talk amongst yourselves. So we want admins. We want there's vowels in developers.
Dale, I'm going to ask the stupid question. How do I get to a different room?
How what?
How do I get to a different room? What do I click for that?
I have to open it, and then I think you'll all see something pop up that says, hey, okay, you can join rooms.
Thank you.
Dale did something. You want to do the thing? All right, general network. All right. Open all rooms. All right, so you now should have the ability to go join. Go forth. We'll see you in 30.
Dale, I'm not seeing any link. Am I missing something?
Did something not pop up? Like so are you running on the web or desktop app?
It's the desktop app,
Mac or PC?
PC.
Okay. I know at least on a Mac, when you're in a Zoom meeting, you have like 3 application windows going. So I wonder if pop-ups in a different, if you're able to toggle between windows, it might be something that's in the background.
Not seeing anything.
And if not, I should be able to just assign you straight to it, but I would just,
Okay.
anything?
Not seeing anything. I just shared, but then of course it changes my view when I share screen. So
Gotcha. So here, tell you what, I can just send you straight into the spring room if you want.
that'd be great. Thanks a lot.
You can do.
Hey Dale, sorry, I kind of stepped out for a minute. Is there a networking one that I can get to, and how could I?
There is. I will send you right in there.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
No worries. Matt and Anton, you guys there? All right. So
There we
now-
go. I thought it left the whole meeting.
All righty. Back to the main room, everyone.
Yeah, that question about I've been on a couple teams now where Salesforce was the other thing they did, and they had their own product that their developers developed. And man, we were just disrespected. It felt like it's like we don't even belong here. We could do that for you. No. We can do it faster. No.
Right. I mean, there is a certain element of, well, that's my job. That's what I do. That's my job. You can't take my job. Like, no, that's not the growth mindset. That's there's the growth mindset, and then there's the other one, like the static or the stale or stuck. I don't know. But the growth mindset would say, oh, my job could be done better. What can I do to keep proving myself as a valuable resource then? Do I have an opportunity to learn something new? Do I have an opportunity to collaborate, to take what I've been doing to help make it better, make it a dialogue and a collaboration?
Yeah, my boss's boss the other day said he really appreciated that I like to learn new things, because I believe that's one of my favorite parts about the Salesforce community.
Mhm.
The guy said, I'm too tired. I'm like, okay, he just said he was too tired to learn anything new. I'm like,
You're too
okay.
tired, you should probably retire.
He just got there 3 months ago.
Ooh. Well, I mean, take any president that's ever had dark hair, and you see how quickly their hair goes gray. I just got here yesterday. All right, I'm gonna just force close all the rooms and bring everybody back in here, and we can wrap up. Let's go. Close in 60 seconds. Okay. So yeah, I'll tell everybody else, but what we would do when we would meet in person is bring everybody back. Somebody from each room would just say, hey, here's what we talked about. Just give kind of a readout and close out the meeting and call it good. So I have a thing that says it's going to close. All the rooms will close in 30 seconds. So we'll just wait for any stragglers to come on back in.
I like your Terry's tidbits
Thanks.
floating there. It's kind of neat. Got branding.
I do. Yes.
Thank you for posting the link to your YouTube channel, by the way, Terry. I think it might have been after an MVP office hours call that I think Joy or Squire had said, yeah, Terry, he's got a whole channel. I'm like, how did I not know that was a thing?
Oh, it's been fun. It didn't exist until like last year, and I've just I think 2 weeks ago, I think I hit 1,000 subscribers on it, so I was pretty excited about that.
That's awesome.
It was fun. Yeah.
Nice.
You do the flow walkthroughs on there, right? I feel like I've seen.
Yep.
Those.
Yeah.
Those are
It's
great.
really
Don't
helpful.
tease the next meeting yet. I want to.
Yeah.
This may be all we have left. I think, that's all we have left. So, who was in the admin's room? Matt Doherty, you want to give us a quick readout?
Sure. Corinne helped me with, and actually both groups I was in helped me with this. One of the challenges that I have right now is trying to find a way to push some SQL Server data into Salesforce with just kind of a one-way synchronization. And so I've got several different options from Corinne and Terry and Chris and some others to look at. So I appreciate all of everyone's ideas for that.
Awesome. Good deal. Chris, were you running the spring room?
Terry and I were, yeah.
Terry wasn't doing anything.
Here's something about flow. I shared, I guess I can post this real quick. I did I don't know if you guys do updates to your companies, like to your business users, of like, here's what's coming with the upgrade, or like just some options that we might look at. And so I just shared an email I had here with the team. Do you guys see that?
Yep.
So why do you email it instead of chatter it?
I know. We're working on them little by little. Actually, we have Speckit. I don't know if you've all have used. I think Speckit presented a few months ago.
Yeah, they did.
We've used that pretty extensively. They have a feature called Spotlight, which would be a perfect application to this, to where like when you log into a certain page into Salesforce, it's like, hey, there's this new thing. So this would be the way I'd prefer to do it. But you know, we're moving everyone's cheese so much that I'm just trying, if I can ever not move someone's cheese, then we'll just keep that in the same place. And so anyway, people kind of found this helpful to pare down to a list of 11 and then just high level. If you want to scan it in 10 seconds, you can get an idea of what's coming.
Well, and Chris, I'll +1 your email path, because when I was an admin, that was still the only way you were going to get the attention of any executives who wrote the check to implement Salesforce to then never log in.
Right, that's true.
When we're not on a recorded line, I'll tell you about my weekend of fun when I was asked to log in as an executive, post on their behalf to an article that praised a certain company. And then over the weekend, that same executive looked at the comments on the article and said, nope, we can't have people looking at this. And so I had to go figure out how to undo it.
Nice.
No.
The internet's a thing, people. And it doesn't come with a delete key. Never has, never will. Anywho.
Actually, not true now. Twitter has banned some people.
That's right. You can be canceled.
Also stuff to take off a recorded line.
Right.
All I did was make a factual statement.
Yep. I didn't say anything, but I will finally defer to, did we lose Daniel? Oh, well, his camera's there. I'll let Mackenzie talk about actually what dominated our conversation, because it's stuff to come.
Yeah, so they taught me quite a bit more about Salesforce and how it really fits into greater organization, especially within the IT side. I mentioned that I'm an IT recruiter, so we also spent some time talking about just hiring trends nationally within Kansas City, how it's going to affect both Salesforce positions as well as just kind of the greater job market right now. So I'm hoping to put together a presentation for a few months down the road to just share some hiring trends and data with everyone from what we've experienced in the last year and kind of what we expect to see going forward.
Well, and to complement that, I'm going to have Jeff and I get back on resurrecting the salary survey that we've done the last few years. So if we can get those to coincide July, August-ish, sometime later this summer, I think that's going to be huge to then get Mackenzie's perspective to pair with that. So,
Is your survey going to be for the Kansas City area only?
I think it would be interesting if we got external data points. We would just need to know that it's from outside Salesforce. Will the sample set be great enough? I don't know, but I mean, other markets are doing the same salary survey, so hopefully we might be able to collaborate. What?
Yeah, we do it here in Des Moines
right.
with our group as well.
Yeah, so
and it's typically reasonable. I mean, we have a few categories that'll be not enough to really quantify the numbers, but yeah, it still gives some nice insights.
Right. It does make me wonder though, Terry, we're only 3 hours apart. We're in the same part of the country, same cost of living, all that. Do we need to somehow potentially spearhead an effort with other national user group leaders to start sharing data?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that'll be later this summer. Terry, you want to give a quick teaser on our April meeting now that you stepped up?
Yeah, I've been doing a series of videos on helping people move from Process Builder to Lightning Flow. And it's really designed to take what we already know about Process Builder and how we would take and do that very same function in Lightning Flow. I have found that it's a very easy way for people who are brand new to Flow to get past that intimidation that you have when you go into that big white open space. And you can, when you stop and look at it, there are a lot of similarities between the two, and it just really highlights those and helps us make that transition.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, we're looking at April 22nd, and we'll be posting stuff or whatever. But I think as soon as you chatted me that, the very first thing I thought of was it does touch all audiences. Obviously, the admins who are just in the deep in the weeds of now I can get rid of my process builders and go to flows. I mean, there's going to be some helpful tips, but also the admins who, oh, this is scary, this is daunting. Really not, but also the developers. Hey, devs, this is what your admin is doing. Not as a scare tactic, not as an anything, but
well, And we actually have data behind how much faster some of these are now, and how it compares to even the Apex triggers. And it's not significantly different when you're talking about a before record trigger flow. It's right there. I mean, the trigger is still a little faster, the Apex code, but not by much. Not by much.
Would you say it's lightning quick?
Yes, that's a good one. Good job. I'll let you own that.
3 kids. I have 3 kid badges for that dad joke. No, that'll be a great presentation. So we are going to take March off just to get a little bit of a breather, but April 22nd. Thank you everybody for surviving to the end. Still weird times in this world. If there's anything I or any of us can do for each other, please don't hesitate to reach out. We're people first, people before employees and workers and robots and all of that. So happy to help in any way I can, and stay warm. It's so bleeping cold out there. Anyway, stay warm, be well. What?
Yes.
Oh, well played. I like
Nice.
your
Yeah,
Nice.
nice.
I'm gonna have one this weekend. So
Yeah, be well, and thank you everybody. We'll see you next
thank
See
you.
y'all. It's nice
Bye.
to see you guys.
Dale.
All right,
Thanks,
see ya.
Bye.